Okay, trips, welcome back to episode 174 of the Real Life Caddy podcast. Zabo's out of town, so I am joined again by my wee pal, Richard Beem. Welcome, Rich.
Thank you. Where is Zabo these days?
You remember Elvis had residence in Vegas? I think he has residence in Disneyland.
Is he in Disneyland?
I don't know. I'm just back from Scotland for 3 weeks, so we had a few texts, but I haven't really spoken to him since I got back.
That's funny.
So, and
is he gone into hiding for anything? I mean, he has always been a little shady. I mean, he could be in hiding someplace. I mean, there could be some people that are trying to look for him.
Yes, ginger midget, hairy feet. Yes, he has a number of reasons why he should be in hiding. But
ginger midget with the hairy feet.
The bottom line is he's not here. We needed to get an episode out. So we're actually going to talk in the first half of this episode about my recent trip to the homeland of golf, of which you will know very well, because I'm thinking you've probably played all of the courses. Second half of the episode, we'll just do our usual mailbag questions, which will bring up some very interesting bits and pieces, and we'll finish off with our shout-outs as usual. Before we crack on with the old Scotland chat, how's you still working with Sky Sports?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yep, that hasn't changed. I haven't said any of the 7 words that you're not allowed to say on TV, but as per George Carlin. So, yeah, all is good, my friend. Yeah, enjoying it. Yeah, it's we're right in the heart of the meat and potatoes of golf coverage. I just got done 4 weeks on the road. I've got a week off, and then do 2 weeks, and then I've got 7 out of 8 weeks at the very end. So.
Are you still enjoying it?
Parts. Yeah, I still enjoy it. It's changed a little bit just because Sky Sports has merged with PGA Tour, created a world feed type podcast or a type program now. So I don't necessarily work directly with the guys that I normally have over the last 11 years, but there's still somebody there that I work with. And again, we've been doing things kind of back and forth for a long time now. So it's not quite the same dynamic. But it's been changing since COVID drastically. COVID kind of shut everybody down because we used to come together on site, and then we'd have to kind of do split teams and things like that. And it's just another iteration of split teams. But you kind of get used to it after a while. But there are parts of it where sometimes I'm the only one on the road, and whoever is on site is usually the only one on the road from Sky, and it gets a little bit lonely sometimes. But that's the road for you.
Lonely.
I know.
Lonely.
I know.
You miss your wee pal Andrew Coulthard. How's he?
He's angry as ever. God love him. He's Scottish. How else do you describe that?
Well, that's a great segue into the meat and gravy of this episode, which is about angry Scots. I just got back from the homeland. A very, very generous guy that I caddy for from Dublin, Ohio, Big Kyle, had spoken to me a couple of years ago about organising a trip to Scotland for himself and another 6 guys and then myself. So I liaised with Graham at St Andrews Golf Travel. I would highly recommend them. If anyone is thinking about going to Scotland, Ireland, England, pretty much anywhere in the world, you want a high-class service with very good customer service, have a look at St Andrews Golf Travel. But we left middle of May. I turned up a couple of days early, go and see my mum and my older brother. Then he dropped me off.
Good boy.
Exactly.
Good son.
And we headed up to Edinburgh Airport. The boys arrived from Ohio. First thing, Edinburgh Airport must be one of the worst airports I've ever seen in my life. Shocking.
It has not aged at all since I went over there for the first time in 1999. It's antiquated, man. It is, again, and it's busy. I mean, it's stupid busy.
Took over about 15 years ago from being the busiest airport over Glasgow. But it was shocking. It looked like something like an old school building from the 80s.
Yeah. Well, the outside of it looks like it was built by the Russians.
Yes.
I mean, it does. It's very. You guys say the word. I'm going to mess up.
Dreich. Oh yeah. Dreich. Yes.
It's very. Yes.
One thing that wasn't too dreich was the weather. and we headed straight north. So this, anyone that is interested in going to play golf in Scotland, get your notebook out now, because we're going to give you some tidbits. We jumped in the van. We had a wonderful bus driver. His name was Hugh, otherwise known as Shug in Scotland. He drove us all the way up to Cruden Bay, which is about a 3-hour bus journey. I was able to introduce a couple of the boys to what we call bacon and tatty scone rolls. That would be my death row food right there, Beamer.
No kidding. Wow.
Yeah. I usually have two. I'm trying to cut down, but I usually have two. I'd have one with red sauce and one with HP.
I can do the HP sauce. I can't do the red sauce. The HP sauce.
So we went up there. The lads, we have you ever? We go in and we have something to eat first. The boys had a bit of jet lag. I didn't have it as bad because I'd been there for a couple of days. But the first round of golf was Cruden Bay, which I'd played previously when I lived up there. And I'm not a big fan of blind shots, and there's 2 or 3 on that course. However, weather was great, bit of wind. They had a bit of a sandwich early on. I don't think you can get a job at Cruden Bay in the restaurant unless you're 65 plus. there was this old lady called Alison. This was the boys' first sort of experience of Scottish customer service. She was deaf, so when the boys, would anyone like another drink? And the boys like, hey, I'll take another 10, so I'll have it. And then she would walk away, but she didn't hear. So I then shouted at her. She turned to me and says, please don't shout at me, sir. And I'm thinking, you can't hear, but then you don't want to be shouted at. It was very bizarre. But we were actually in the middle of our lunch, and this old guy walks up. He looked as if he was in his jammies. He had a pair of trackies on and a dress shirt. And you could tell, 80 plus. Absolutely. And he comes up and goes, oh, hello there, lads. How are you? Where are you here from? And the boys were a wee bit kind of sketchy. Aye, Dublin, Ohio. And he goes, oh, are you playing here today? And then it's yes. And he pointed and he goes, oh, she's a real baby out there. She's a real baby. And I think the boys thought I actually thought he'd been let out of the house. You know what I mean? Grandpa's lost again.
Yeah.
Then he goes, oh, well, I finished second in the Irish Open to Christy O'Connor Jr. He says, oh, I had a birdie putt from 4 feet on 17. I missed it, and Christy O'Connor chipped in, and I finished second. And then he introduced himself as Harry Bannerman. Have you heard that name?
Never. No.
Check him out. Guys, it turns out he's a legend. He's a legend. He played with Arnold Palmer in the Masters. I think he played in the Masters 3 or 4 times.
Jesus, did he really?
Yeah, played in the Ryder Cup. That's his thing.
As you do.
And he finds his Wikipedia. So, we went up, apologised. Turns out Alison, customer service Alison.
What's his name again?
Harry Bannerman, Bannerman. Harry the legend. And Alison told us that he was a bit of a ladies' man. So he was sitting there with about 4 or 5 ladies.
Track trousers.
Yeah, exactly. He was sitting with 4 or 5 ladies. It was only by the way, it was like, I don't know, midday, and he was drinking a gallon of red wine. So I went across, got a lovely photo with him, and he was an absolute top lad. And Alison said, I think his wife, she was there. She says, oh, Harry might still be here when you finish. But that was the first introduction. He was class. And Cruden Bay, fantastic course. I don't like the blind shots though, Beamer.
I haven't. That's the one course I haven't played. I think on the list that you guys talked about. And the origin is I was going to go play there a couple of years back. Well, gosh, it was probably 8 years ago now. Mm-hmm. When the Open Championship was at Carnoustie, and I was going to go up there and go play it, and just turns out the work week didn't pan out like I had expected it to. A couple of things got added in there, but I was scheduled to go play at Cruden Bay, but I've heard nothing but good things about it. I hadn't heard great things about it, but I'd heard it's a proper links golf course, fun.
No, it's solid. As Harry Bannerman would say, oh, she's a baby. She's a real baby. So I'd never heard anyone talk about a golf course that way. But the first night we're there, Aston Villa. Big shout out to Aston Villa. We won the European Europa League. So first
the Europa League,
yeah. I haven't seen silverware for 30 years. For the next 10 days, I wore my Aston Villa jacket. I asked everyone I met if they wanted to kiss the badge. Very few people did, but that's another story.
They probably said, "Yeah, you guys are number one."
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Just for the listeners, that was the middle finger I just got there.
That was the middle finger,
So,
yes.
we spent a couple of days in Aberdeen, which was great. I used to live there, so went to some of the old haunts. We played both courses at Trump Aberdeen, which I believe you have been up there.
I have.
Most recently, what, last year you played?
Yeah, last year played actually opened the new course with the president. Yeah, I got
With the
invited to play
Donald.
with the Donald. Yes, that's right. Your buddy.
I actually worked there when it first opened. I still have the number one bib, and that was 2012. And there's a few lads, big guy called Bob Gregg, he's the starter, and then Murray Morrison, who I caddied with. He owns a fish and chip shop up there, and his son Glenn, who I've known since he was probably like 13 years old, and they caddied for us. It was fantastic.
That's awesome.
What do you think of the courses?
They're pretty, but I again, they're not true links golf courses because everything is built up for the views, so you can see the dunes, the undulations, things like that. Is it a place you ought to go play? Yeah, I think you should if you're up in that area. But again, it's one of those things where you're so used to playing a golf course like Carnoustie, St. Andrews, where everything's flat. You stand on the fairway height and you hit it down the fairway height. I mean, there's no elevation change. And then this one, if you get it windy at all, which we did last year when I played it on the older of the two courses, hitting in crosswinds from an elevated tee in a 35 mile an hour gust. Well, over there that's a breeze. Yeah. But it was impossible in some areas, and you can't quite always run the golf ball up onto the greens because of how it's designed. There's humps and hollows and swales before a lot of the greens. There's very few holes where you can just have a clean shot where you can bounce it in there like you would a traditional links. Again, the beauty aspect of it is it's phenomenal. It's phenomenal what they were able to see and design about it. But again, they're doing it from more of an American perspective where you get to sit up there and you get to see over everything, but that's not what a links golf course is. A links golf course is you see nothing, you tee it off here and the golf ball runs on the ground. So from a beauty perspective, it's amazing. From a playability perspective, it's brutal. I think both courses are brutally hard. Yeah,
the new course reminded me of the old course when it first opened, a little bit rough. It's very penalising. Like we are basically in the North Sea, so you are going to get wind every single day.
Yeah, of course.
Play there. I think the old course is the best set of par threes I've ever seen. I still believe that. I think it's incredible. I think though, if you are going to go and play those two courses, make sure you practice and practice because if you're slightly off the fairway, you're gone. It is a golfer's course. That is set up for pros.
Yeah. No, I mean it is, and again, it's. Even amateurs, if you do go play there, if you think, I'm going to play the one-ups, I'm not going to go all the way back, so I'm going to play the one-ups, go two up.
Go two up. Yeah, exactly.
Seriously, go two up. And have no shame about it because, I think for golf courses, for me, Gordon, it's how much did I enjoy playing it? I know the beauty aspect of it. I mean, it's a stunning piece of property. But I got to enjoy what I'm doing out there. You get beat up in a hurry. We played all the way backs in a professional event, and after a while, I'm like going, I'm exhausted. I was really looking forward to missing the cut, and then turns out that 13 over wasn't bad enough to miss the cut. I had to shoot 15 over to miss the cut. It's just like, holy cow! I got 2 more days of this. I mean. So it was, it's rough. It's rough. It's stunningly beautiful, but again, move up. If you're going to go whatever tees you normally play, go up,
go to
even one further. Yeah, you don't need to go see all of it. You actually walk by most of the back tees, but you don't need to go see what it looks like. You don't need to go play it from back up there. It's just hard.
Yes, bend over. Well, we finished there. The boys loved that. Actually, I was a big fan. They bought a bunch of swag, but we jumped in the van, and Big Hugh drove us all the way through to St Andrews for 4 nights. We stayed at the Old Course Hotel, which is just on the corner of 17. We have the Jigger Inn right next to it.
Yep, which they redid.
Oh, have they?
And some folks are not too happy about it. Like folks like me that have been going there forever. I mean, it used to walk in. I mean, like even you got to duck in around some place. I mean, it was old school tiny, and they've renovated it, make it a little bit bigger, more open. But that was the thing about it. You wanted to have something small and tiny, and like how it used to be. That's the charm. That's the beauty of it all. But I think they did it more for tourism than anything else.
Of course, of course. We played 4 rounds of golf. We hadn't booked the trip well enough in advance to get the old course. We did the ballot. I'll be honest with you, I was not bothered. I was much happier with the 4 courses we went to play, which we started with Dumbarton, which is another American-owned course. I loved it. Absolutely brilliant. A lot more open than, say, the Trump courses. So you could, if you sprayed it a little bit, it was no wispy fescue. So I think from a scoring point of view, enjoyment point of view, it was fantastic.
Yeah, you could see you can navigate your tee shots a lot better. You weren't always hitting from up high. You were hitting more fairway level, and if you were hitting from up high, it was 15, 20 feet, maybe not 40, 50 feet.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely fantastic. Really, really recommend.
Yeah, it's absolutely.
Then we went to Kingsbarns. We went to see my wee pal Sean, the caddy master Sean Wiseman at Kingsbarns. He actually caddied for us. Kingsbarns top 3, I think, in the country.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it's just I first saw it, gosh, like right before it opened in 2000, if I remember correctly. Maybe it was even 99.
Mm-hmm.
No, I think no, it was 2000. It was 2000, and I got invited by Mark McCumber.
Oh yeah,
because he had something to do with it. And actually, my caddy and I, close friend Bill, and I got to play with another young local kid who was from St. Andrews, really good player. I'm drawing a blank on his name. We played there on a picture perfect day, and it was just glorious. I've seen it in zero wind, and I've seen it where you don't even bother putting the umbrella up because it's not going to work. And I prefer both.
Yeah.
It's a fantastic golf course.
Yeah. I would actually hasten to add, I believe that's where I introduced the boys to Magner cider. So,
oh yes,
cider's more of an Irish British kind of drink.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I'd obviously got them onto the Tenants early on, and then we switched, and they said, "What's that?" I said, "Well, it's actually called Magner cider, and they have Copperberg. They have some fantastic ciders over there." So they switched to that, and I tell you, they were absolutely hooked. So
yeah, that stuff's dangerous because it tastes like apple juice.
It's apple juice.
It's apple juice is going to get you sideways in a hurry. That's for damn sure.
I think I then texted you because we were in the very famous bar, the Dunvegan. Could well be one of the most famous bars in the world.
Could be most famous golf bars in the world without question. Jack and Sheena were kind of brought that back to life years ago, and then they sold most of it to a group out of Canada. But I mean, it's where you want to go.
They were from Texas, correct?
Jack was from Texas. Jack was an engineer from educated at Texas A&M, and then he went over to Edinburgh to go work on the road systems. And I want to say specifically the bridges over there in Edinburgh, in and around Edinburgh. He fell in love with golf, fell in love with St. Andrews, and fell in love with Sheena. And match made in heaven, and they bought the place and they ran it for, I mean, I don't know how many years. It must have been 30 years almost.
I was going to say maybe 20
years. Yeah, it was, it was well in the 20 years plus. But yeah, I mean, I used to stay there whenever I would go over for the Dunhill Links, just because of my relationship with Jack and Sheena. They did have the best showers I've ever had in Scotland.
Really? Warm water.
Warm and hot, and comes out like, I mean, it's not just dripping. I mean, it's coming at you, fast and furious. But no, it was great. They had 6 rooms upstairs, and they were all just these nice little cozy rooms. Actually, a couple of them were proper size too. I mean, you had plenty of space, but what a great space that is, Dunvegan. I love it. And
for people that don't know, check it out. The Dunvegan Bar St Andrews. They have pictures of guests who have come in, and we're talking former presidents, golfers, sports stars, anyone who's anyone, movie stars, and the Beamer has one
and
right in the middle of a wall to the left-hand side as you walk into the bar.
I think there used to be like 2 or 3 pictures of me up there just because I used to
Oh.
stay every year when I was playing for a little bit, and I'm like, you got to take these down, man. I mean, it's just it's embarrassing. Yeah, I mean it's great. I mean they have a lot of pictures with Sheena and Tiger when Tiger won
Mm-hmm. 2000,
2000, 2000
2005.
over there. Yep. So I mean it's got everything. You could actually spend just hours
Looking.
looking at all the photos.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's just the main bar. The other side of the bar over there too. If I remember correctly, you have all these smaller pictures that were cut out, Polaroid pictures and whatnot, cut out and place it all over the wall. You're like going, holy cow, you can be here for
Yeah.
days.
Is 100%. The other two courses we played were Ely and Crail. The boys were not fans of Ely. Pace of play was slow. I think that's part of the reason. There was no halfway house. There was no beer cart. That was it. That was obviously an issue. For the lads, I would probably rank that one from the 11 we played probably down towards about the 8 or 9. Nice lot of blind shots again. You're having to ring the bell. Crail
Yeah.
though, Crail is next level. Seventh. They claim it's the seventh oldest golf club in the world. Very playable, regardless of your
Yeah.
handicap. You can score.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
it's not super long from the backs either. It's only like 6,800 yards, isn't it? It's fairly
Mm-hmm.
short. Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's stunning views right there on the further fourth, and yeah, it's amazingly beautiful.
We also, I'm trying to think. I introduced the boys to what we call ramblers. Do you know what a rambler is?
Well, I know different type of ramblers. What kind of rambler you
So
got?
ramblers in the UK are the kind of people that go walking in the
Oh,
countryside, and they know all the rules about what's private, what's public, and
oh gosh.
there were hundreds of them on the beach, and then they, make their way up onto the golf course. So, yeah, a real pain in the neck. And
Yes,
they got,
I know who you're talking about now.
of course, these American lads have no idea. Like, what are all these people doing here? Because at Crail,
Well,
you're literally in the beach. It's you're on
yeah.
the seaside. It's unbelievable.
Well, same thing with St. Andrews. It's closed on Sundays. You can go out to
Closing
the park.
Sundays,
It's a
unbelievable.
park. It's a
Picnics,
park on Sundays. Yes, right in the middle
dogs
of it.
running around,
I
unbelievable.
remember after Cam Smith won the Open Championship, and they have everything on the 18th fairway, right by the 18th green, and then as soon as he gets whisked away and goes back over to the media center, blankets come out, dogs start running down the middle of the fairway. I mean, it was a full on park on Sunday after the final putt at the Open Championship. I'm like going, this is awesome.
Next level. I didn't really know what to make of it, and I guess that's just the way it is. I didn't know this. This was news to me. I'd never seen this. I knew it was closing on a Sunday, but I didn't
Yeah,
realize that it was.
it's a dog park. It's whatever you want it to be, man. It's amazing. It's hysterical. Can you imagine
Yeah.
having that at Augusta National after Sunday
Oh,
after they get done? Just make it a park.
you should suggest that.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and keep my mouth shut on that one.
There you go. Yeah.
Um,
Now, another notable point is the boys. There's a hotel called the Russocks halfway along
oh
the
yeah,
18th, and turns out I know one of the owners. So the boys were talking about trying to
yeah,
get into the terrace bar. So I sent him a message. Rob, great lad. He gets straight back to me. He put me in contact with his general manager, and there's a restaurant. If you get a chance, it's called the 18 Restaurant, and it
yep.
has. But I'll send you a video, Beamer, of the evening we were there because the sunset was absolutely sensational. But I've just got to mention here, we were there for 11 days, and we got about 2.5 to 3 hours of rain. That was it. The boys were complaining about it being too hot at one point, which
Oh gosh,
can you believe that? They're from Dublin,
no.
Ohio. It's 105 degrees and sweaty. So
Yes, I was in Dublin, Ohio last week. It was 105 degrees and sweaty.
there you go. That's right. You were there for the memorial. But yeah, the 18 restaurant, unbelievable. Even if you can get up there just for a pint of Magners, it's worth
Yeah, of
going
course.
up
Yeah,
there.
it's great. Yeah, Mark Eubanks is the guy that I know. He's kind of like the more the GM types guy. He runs it for Marine and Lawn. Yeah, a big American
That's right. Yeah, M and
contingent.
L. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, Mark Eubanks is the guy. I'm assuming he's still. He's an amazing character. He actually was a green superintendent at just a local golf club. I want to say in Tennessee, and the general manager quit. They're looking for general manager, looking. He goes, "Hell, I'll do it." So he became a general manager and the green superintendent of a golf course he was at, and then all of a sudden got to know a couple of the members. A couple of the members decided they're going to buy the marine and lawn hotels, and they bought them up over Scotland. And hey, why don't you go over there and run them for us? It's just like, what in the hell? I tell you what, though, this guy pays attention to detail probably more than anybody. He is phenomenal at what he does. Mark Eubanks, great guy.
Well,
Funny.
we went from had to say goodbye to St Andrews, which the boys absolutely loved. We went up to I took them up to the Abbey to see all of the Morris's graves. You know, there's like so many of them, which they wanted a wee bit of culture as well as the golf. And then we had to say goodbye to St Andrews, but it was fantastic. I took them for an Indian, which they loved, Indian food. Actually, one of the guys, coach, had talked about how he'd heard the food was shit in Scotland. And I says, come on, that's like saying all Americans are assholes. I said, you can't have every single meal in Scotland's garbage. I'll tell you what, 11 days, not one complaint. Now, the service was definitely very poor at some places, but the food, we didn't have one bad.
Yeah, in St Andrews, the customer service is always pretty good because they thrive on tourism, they thrive on the university students, they thrive on a lot of things, and so and listen, you'd have to, I think, search for a bad meal in St Andrews. I mean, there's so many really good restaurants in St Andrews, and it's such a cool little town. You could it's a great place to go spend 3, 4, 5 days. Even if you don't golf, just go walk around, just see everything and just soak it all in. It's fun. Great little town.
Absolutely tremendous. So we then went down to the West Coast where I'm from. We drove from St Andrews and the first port of call was Prestwick, which has had a big renovation at the clubhouse. And, I was organising all the caddies. So we ended up with a bunch of guys that I knew. Guys that I'd actually spent time in South Carolina with. So Prestwick was fantastic. That was my best round, actually. Weather was phenomenal. I love the planes just flying in. It's definitely a course you need. If you haven't played before, you will need a caddy because
you need a caddy. Yeah, that's actually a golf course. You could stand on a tee box and look around and be like 360 degrees. Which way do I hit it? But they have the newer holes out there. I think sometimes get a bad rap. What's the par 3, the blind par 3, like
7.
5?
Was it 5? Yeah. It's 5 or 6. It was another slow round. So but it's up over the hill.
It's over the hill. Yeah, and it's because they had originally 12 holes and they had to make the extra 6. I think the ones out on the far end.
Mm-hmm.
Do they fit the rest of the golf course? Kind of, sort of, but I'd say the back 9. Once you get to like the original older holes, it's absolutely insane. My dog is scratching at my door. Hang on for 1 second. I know.
Is that a police hat up on top of yourself?
Oh yeah, I've got which one's this one? This one's from I forget where this one's from. I also have a bobby hat. I actually traded for these. This one's the Lagarda. This is Northern Ireland. Yeah, that's Northern Ireland right there.
Garda would be Southern Ireland. Garda's Southern Ireland.
Oh, it's not. This one it says Northern Ireland on it.
Okay, that's the RUC then. That would be the old one.
Yeah, this one I think is from the one in St George's. Is that Scottish?
That looks like a Scottish one. Thistle.
Then that's my buddy from Carnoustie. I rented his house one year when I played there. I also have a bobby hat someplace.
I also see a Chelsea football, which is disgusting.
Yep, it's right there. Hey, listen, man, you pipe down there, buddy. You pipe down there.
So, what were we saying about Prestwick? Prestwick, fantastic,
great, fantastic. I mean, some of the closing holes are just phenomenal.
Yeah.
I mean, even from the first hole, like if you played the original, was it originally 12 holes? I think.
Yes.
If you played the original 12 holes, it would probably be the most exciting 12 holes you could ever play. Yeah. Because it is so different than anything you've ever seen. The green complexes are batshit crazy, and yet they're like you can't. It's like having a goiter in the middle of somebody's forehead. You just can't quit looking at it because it's fascinating. But it's tremendous. It's so fun to play and to be around. I got the biggest kick out of playing there a couple of years back. That was a gas.
Yeah, no, the boys thoroughly enjoyed that one. And then we went downtown to some of the old haunts for a couple of pints and some dinner after. We then went to stay at Turnberry for 4 nights. Wow.
Jesus, did you really?
So I'm from there. That's where I grew up. That's where I played my golf. That's where I caddied. I've never stayed in a hotel. And it's just the absolute best of the best. The views, everything. Yeah. The weather. Like, listen, when it's 40-mile-an-hour winds and the rain is coming sideways, no thank you. But we had perfect May weather. It was probably 65 to 70 degrees Fahrenheit. Sunsets, you see everything. Just
How is that possible? Because 2 days ago it hailed in St. Andrews, and the whole place was covered. It looked like it was covered in snow. It was just hail. It was covered in hail.
I think you probably have to look at the manipulation of weather there, Richard.
I think it's because Mother Nature's part Scottish, and she can get a little angry at times and just throws a tantrum.
Yeah, it seems a little bizarre that there's hailstones in June, but yeah, we digress.
Hey, listen. There was hailstones in Dublin, Ohio last weekend too, so that's okay.
But that's like storm stuff. That's Storm Central.
Same thing up there. Storm Central up in St. Andrews. It's an island, dude.
As I say, we'll move on. We played Robert the Bruce. That's the second course at Turnberry, the third to last day. I'm going to be honest. It used to be the Arran course when I grew up. Then they moved it to the Kintyre. Then they changed it to the Robert the Bruce, and then they redesigned it a bunch. The best holes on the course are the originals, which were the Arran course. I'm not a big fan of. I understand why they took it up onto what they call Baines Hill, which overlooks the Ailsa Course 8 and 9, and it overlooks sort of Maidens, the village. I didn't enjoy Robert the Bruce. I would probably put that pretty much 7th out of 11 that I played. A bit like the Trump courses, very, very difficult. They've let the gorse grow like it was in the 90s. It's brutal.
Oh, really? It's been forever since I played there, but it was extraordinary. I mean, I remember playing out there. Everything. You couldn't soak it in enough. It was just the course, the original course that I played it was phenomenal. I didn't get a chance to play any of the other ones around there, but I got to say that Turnberry is a must. Yeah. You got to go, Sid. You got to go play it.
The views on the Robert the Bruce course are 100 out of 100.
Well, of course, yeah.
You kind of have a mix of American greens in a way, and then the old school links greens, which are very subtle. So I just felt it's a wee bit like the courses in Aberdeen. If you're on your game, fantastic. There was a couple of drives I hit. I felt as if they were perfect. They were probably 4 feet off the semi rough, and they were gone. So it just buries its head, and it's not light fescue. It's thick mulch.
Oh God!
There's a couple of holes that used to be in a swamp. So
Jesus.
So yeah, that was the second to last. Second to last day we did Western Gales, which is it's very close to Troon.
Yep.
Old school links, brilliant, absolutely brilliant. That's in the top 3 of what we did. It was crazy wind. We saw a little bit of rain, but the boys, and we had varying standards of our levels of golf. Every single person thought it was fantastic. When you play there, you get a bit of lunch after. So highly recommend that. You said you haven't played there?
I haven't played there, but I know exactly where it's at. Again, usually when I go to Troon, I'm working, so I don't get a chance to kind of get out there. I got a chance to play Prestwick a couple of years ago, but I haven't played Western Gales yet. But that is going to be on my list next time I get to Troon. Yeah,
they have the train track like Troon, like Prestwick. It just runs right past you. I've got some videos. It's sensational. I've been in that train going to Glasgow to university or back, I don't know, 1,000 times. But I think this was only the second time I'd ever played Western Gales.
Nice.
Really, really enjoyed that. And then we left the best to last Beamer. We played the Ailsa Course Turnberry on our last day of golf, and I'll be honest, it was special. The weather was great. We had a bunch of caddies that I went to school with that I've known all my life. It's the absolute best. It's the best golf course I've ever played in my life. And the changes we made to 7 and 8 are just absolutely next level. So,
it's been forever since I've been there.
Yeah, and in general, absolute gold. If anyone is interested and you want more information, just email us, podcast@glorifieddonkey.com. I am happy to share any information with you. Before we move on to a break, just a big shout out to Big Kyle, who paid for the whole thing. His son, Corey, Coach, Greener, Big Mike, Daner. Notable mentions to Hugh, the bus driver, Graham, and then also Kyle, who works for St Andrews Golf Travel, and he is a listener.
It sounds to me like if there was a bar fight that ever broke out while you guys were there, you guys would win.
the West Coast caddies would win 100%.
No. The guys that you're traveling with, everybody, Big Mike, Big
Big.
Kyle. Yeah, I mean, everybody's. That didn't sound like you're. Yeah, it didn't sound like you're traveling, tiny at all. Big suitcases, big bags.
Would you agree with me? Ailsa Course, Turnberry, top.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah, it's stunning. It's an absolute stunning piece of property. You got to go play it.
Yeah, and if the weather has probably made the trip, so there we go. Lovely. Well, listen, we are going to move on to a quick message and break, and then we'll be back with our mailbag questions. I just wanted to say a quick thank you to all of our listeners for your continued support of the podcast. I'd also like to ask for a wee favour. If you're a fan of what we do at the Real Life Caddy podcast, please help us out and take 60 seconds to share the podcast with some golfing friends. As an independent broadcast, it's always a challenge to break into the marketplace and grow what we love to do. This is where you can help us hugely, so please take a minute and share what we are doing. If you aren't already, please follow us on YouTube, Twitter and Instagram, and please get in touch with any mailbag questions, feedback or suggestions. podcast@glorifieddonkey.com. Again, I appreciate your support, and now we'll get back to it. Alright, Beaver, you know what happens now at this second part of the episode?
Yes, let's answer questions.
Listener mailbag questions. Right, we're going to start with something. You mentioned Nashville. So this was actually from a Wade Williams, and he's in Nashville, Tennessee. Hey, you boys, a bit of a throwback to the early days of the podcast, but I was walking through the Tennessee Golf House here in Nashville and came across this display in the Tennessee Golf Hall of Fame. I immediately thought of the two of you, and you can't see it, but it was a picture of Gibby Gilbert.
Gibby Gilbert, I remember the name, yeah.
This was something like years ago when Neil did the podcast with me that we just thought this name was made up, but it turned out.
Oh, Gibby Gilbert. Oh yeah, no.
Like absolute legend of Tennessee.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, played on tour for a little bit. Yeah, I remember Gibby Gilbert.
Yeah, it's
a great name.
Well, again, I kind of thought it was made up. I didn't believe that somebody would actually be called.
That Gibby Gilbert was made up.
I think he was also Gibby Gilbert III. So there was like one.
I can see that.
Mark 1, Mark 2. So
they were the big golfing family. I mean, absolutely big golfing family. Yeah. I don't remember, I can't get any specifics, but yeah, absolutely. Remember the Gilbert family 100%.
There you go. Yeah, that's not really a question, but I was just
that's not a question. Yes.
Something I'd written down. But first question. Real question. Hello, boys. Hope you're doing good. Over the last few years, my putting seems to be getting worse. It must be the equipment, right? 100%. It's always the arrow, never the Indian. Anyways, I am thinking of adopting the claw grip in a last-ditch effort to cure my demons. What are your thoughts? That's from Richie P. and Lake Bluff. Do you know where that is?
Lake Bluff. It sounds like it'd be in the Carolinas someplace.
That would be in Illinois.
Lake Bluff, Illinois. I don't know where Lake Bluff, Illinois is.
There you go.
Listen, do whatever it takes, man. Whatever you can do to find enjoyment in this game, it's fine. However, I always say this. And this is the one thing that I've done. I've done so many sit down the driving range, meet and greets, so on and so forth. People ask me about their swing, and the one thing I always ask them, without fail, how many people here take lessons? Maybe a quarter of them.
Yeah.
Maybe a quarter of them. And I'm like, you guys watch TV lately? Who's that guy standing next to Scotty Scheffler on the driving range, man? Not his caddy, but the other guy there. Randy Smith. What does he do? Oh, that's right. He's his coach. Yeah. Who else am I thinking about? Oh, yeah. Have you seen that guy, Justin Thomas? Yeah, two-time major winner. Yeah, who's that guy? Not his caddy, but his dad. Yeah, what's his dad do? Instructor. I'm like, these guys take lessons. Why can't you take lessons? I think that in order to get better at anything, and listen, I try to give my son lessons, and I got nowhere with him just because I can't see the same things. I took him to a guy who I trust, and Michael's turned into a different kid the last week and a half, 2 weeks. And so, listen, you got to have another set of eyeballs. You can't sit there and read a magazine. You can't look at anything on YouTube. You can't do it. You have to have somebody help you, and try and find somebody golf specific. and don't just sit there and look and see what these guys are doing. Try and go find somebody that is specific to the short game. You can find it anywhere. I'm sure online. It wouldn't be that hard. But listen, you got to go find somebody. You just can't sit there and do it alone. You got to find somebody that can tell you and navigate, because just going to a claw grip isn't going to solve your problem. Unless you learn how to use it effectively. You're just changing your grip without learning how to do it effectively.
Would you say that, like, when you were playing, did anyone use the claw grip?
Chris DeMarco did. He was the first one I ever saw.
First one. What year would this be?
99, 2000. This is rookie year on tour stuff. He had gone to that because Skip Kendall, because Chris was struggling putting, and Skip says, "Listen, I'm from Wisconsin. I play golf with these guys, and there's one guy who has his left hand on here, and another one looks like he's strangling the putter, and he takes it back, but he says it takes his right hand out of it." And Chris DeMarco ran the table for years with the claw grip. He ran, and it was more the claw. I mean, it was like holding it like you're trying to choke the hell out of that grip. Now guys are using the saw, a couple of fingers here. There's even that kid, Zach Beauchou. Have you heard of Zach Beauchou?
I haven't. No.
And he's the second year on tour, I think. He's got a right hand on top, and his left hand's the claw, and he goes back and forth that way. And listen, I tried it just to see, and I'm like going, "Oh, please don't like this. Please don't like it." And here's the thing. Though. It looks goofy, but here's the funny thing, Gordon. I understand it. I understand why you could do that. Now, could I sit there and do that every day? I doubt it. I mean, this is something that he's gotten ingrained for years and years, because you're basically putting all your trust in your right hand, and this hand is just barely touching the club. It's just kind of guiding it along. It's just there for stabilization. That's it. Everything is, your right arm is just one massive piston. I hit some putts with it. It felt good. I wouldn't say that it's for me as of yet, but I'm not going to rule anything out, because I'm willing to try most anything except for a lab putter.
Attaboy!
No, listen. I love Sam Lab. I love Sam with his lab putters. I think they've done great things for the game. I think they've helped some guys with their putting, because listen, if you hit the ball good and you can't make anything and you struggle with the greens, you're going to find less and less enjoyment out of it, and you're going to go away from the game. That's why I think that banning the anchoring of it, which most amateurs, if they're going to use a long putter, they're going to anchor it anyways. But don't put any restriction. Do whatever you want with it. I mean, shove it in your belly, shove it, wherever you want to. Just go.
I think that I would give up the game before using a lab putter or the claw. And as a caddy at a resort, it is just hilarious to see the variations of the claw.
You're stuck up. You were a golf snob. You were an elitist, and I think that you need to just kind of temper your expectations. Let the common folk like me and this gentleman from Shady Grove, Shady Lakes, or
Lake Bluff, in Illinois, Richie P.
Richie P. I think you just need to leave us to our own devices and quit being such an elitist and snob.
There you go. Okay. That's the first time I've been called elitist, but I think I quite like that. That sits with me quite nicely. Richie, you heard it. Just go and get some lessons.
Go take a lesson, Richie. Seriously, it's going to do you a world of good. Yeah, it's going to do you a world of good. There's certain things that you can do, and not just putting. It's practicing putting. It's how you practice in order to take it out to the golf course. That, I think, is going to be a big part of you getting better at putting, Richie.
Yeah. Now a little bit more serious.
I like the more I practice, the luckier I get.
Exactly. A little bit more serious here, Beamer.
Okay, talk to me.
There's been a lot in the media recently about the current caddy situation at Pebble Beach. My understanding is that caddies are no longer independent contractors and are now employees of the caddy management company. This seems like a sad day for the caddies. What are your thoughts? And that's from an Andrew Duffin in Statesboro. Do you know what that is?
Statesboro. I do know Statesboro. Well, there's a bunch of Statesboro. I'm going to say Statesboro is Arkansas?
Georgia. But you're right. There's probably about 132.
Yeah, there's a Statesboro, Georgia. No, you're right.
So yes, that is true.
I'm going to defer the first part of this answer to you, because this affects you.
Yeah, very much. That is true. What you've read or you understand is, for many years, caddies have been independent contractors, and recently we have become employees of our caddy management company. So personally, I am not over the moon about it. I think it's a very sad state of affairs that it's come to this. And
what are your options? What are your options on this one?
Well, what's happening is that actually a vote on joining a union in a couple of weeks' time. So,
interesting.
Like if you think about 2026, like I always thought unions were something of sort of the blue collar 1950s, 40s, 60s. I understand why unions were formed, and then probably more recently they've been used as a political tool. So it's not.
I think they've always been used as a political tool here in the U.S. 100%.
Yeah. I think unions probably started after the Industrial Revolution in the UK type thing.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure, but that's when kids weren't going to school, or at 8 years old they were working 14-hour shifts, 6 days a week, 7 days a week.
I think that would have been good for you back in the day.
That's what I did. Before caddying, I was in the coal mines. So
shipyards.
So to be called elitist is fantastic, but I don't know. I find it incredible that I was obviously Scotland for 11 days playing golf. All of the caddies are independent contractors. You see, there's a caddy master who is in charge. He kind of almost plays God. If you don't play by his rules, take some time off. Everyone toes the line. There's boundaries, but everyone stays within those. And it's self-funded, so the boys will probably take the caddy master.
And it's self-policing too. It sounds like it sounds like it's the nature of the game itself. Like if you want to caddy anywhere, you got the caddy master. You have to answer to him. He's employee of the club normally.
Yeah.
So you have to. I mean, there's still rules that you have to abide by. It's just your paycheck or your money is you have to self-report it because you're getting paid cash as income. Do you get anything from Pebble Beach Company to be a caddy to show up?
No, so that's not employees of Pebble Beach Company. It'll be employees of Caddy Master. You now going from a base rate pay on a 1099 to a W-2, which is employee taxed at source, I'm understanding, and they pay you hourly. So, you are paid for bench time. But my understanding is if you want to earn anywhere close to what you did before on the base rate, you have to turn up for longer, which, is certainly not my spiel. I want to sort of get out, shake it all about. And I just think it's a sad state of affairs that we've gotten to this stage where caddies are even forced to think about unionizing. Well, on the flip side, I will tell you this. My experiences of caddying, I've probably been in about 8 or 9 different caddy barns plus caddying and tour. And it doesn't matter where you are in the world. It doesn't matter if it's private course, resort course. You turn up as a newbie and everyone looks at you the same way. Like, who's this guy? Who's this guy?
Yeah, sure, 100%.
So there's animosity. It's probably like most jobs, but in the caddy world, it just seems as if it's a little bit more intense. And then it takes time for you to then gain recognition or acceptance. In Scotland, it's usually like Catholic, Protestant, Celtic, Rangers, people fighting, or family feuds, or, you live on this side of the railroad or the rail track. People will always find difference. So there's always been these arguments. What I will tell you in the last few months I've seen out here is the unity of the boys. Everyone has come together with kind of like a common enemy, so to speak.
Sure.
And there's like all of the infighting that used to happen over the smallest things has ceased. It's been quite revolutionary.
I think the one thing that's remarkable about this whole process too, for me, Gordon, is Pebble Beach companies, they do everything low key. They do it under the radar. They don't want to get I'm correct when I say this. I mean, it's Disneyland for people that love golf. I mean, this is heaven. This is their sanctuary. This is where you want to go. And you don't hear much about Pebble Beach, in the news and stirring up any controversy. I'm really surprised that they're taking this on in the way that they are, where it's being, a lot of it's kind of like everything else in this world, there's a lot being said, social media, online, in the news, and that's not how Pebble Beach companies operate. I've been going out there for 25 years, and they do everything low key and just kind of keep under the radar and whatnot. And why they have picked now of all time to shake it up on something that seems to work awfully well.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean, I can't imagine it's about saving money, but I guess it's a corporation, but I don't understand it.
Yeah, I'll be honest. From when it started, I haven't really been around much. As I say, I was away back home for a few weeks and what have you. I do think it's sad that it's come to this. Ultimately, from my point of view, I don't really want to earn less money for having more experience or as I get older. And I think the sad thing is I don't think the golfer has been thought about in this whole process. At the end of the day,
100%.
the golfer is the most important person at the golf course because they're the paying customer, whether they're a member or their resort. And I believe that secondly, it's the caddy because caddies are really sort of showcasing the product. Good caddies. Don't get me wrong, there's some bad caddies out there. And I potentially non-governance has led us to this situation. I don't know why they did it. We'll probably never know. I have my suspicions of why it is, but the bottom line is it's happened, and I don't think that the reason that people are attracted to caddying is we're kind of nomads. I learned after a few years of caddying, I tried to have a proper job, and it's like I wouldn't employ myself. Do you know what I mean? It's like I'm not going to lie because we question everything, and like I say, especially being from the west coast of Scotland, VIP in where I'm from means very important prick. So, like Alison up at Cruden Bay, the customer service, they're like, we're here to do a job, and there's, and I'm not saying I'm obviously that's the way to do it. That's just the way we are. I think that caddies are nomads, independent by nature.
Sure, 100%.
Transient. So the reason that you're attracted to it is the independence, flexibility, freedom in the first place. I met caddies that used to work at 4 different places over a 12-month period. They would go here for the spring, they go there for the summer, they go there for the autumn, and then they go there for the winter.
100%.
So I never became a caddy. I actually chose to be a caddy. I didn't just fall into it. I chose to do that. And that meant not being an employee. I didn't want to be an employee. I want to be independent. So
you hit on something there too that's pretty interesting. Is that I think there's a stigma, at least personally there is, when you say caddy. Caddy seems to me like it's a subservient word. And here's the thing about it: it's nothing of the sort. I mean, there's guys that are caddies on tour who are making millions and millions of dollars a year. Now, obviously, they're working with the upper echelon players, but even the guys that are with the mid-range players, they're still making
big money,
$500,000 a year, probably plus. It comes with expenses and this and that, and it is a nomadic lifestyle. But listen, I've known guys that went to Duke, graduated from Duke with finance degrees, that ended up caddying. There was a guy, his nickname was the Judge. I had to ask him, why do they call you the Judge? Because I was a state judge. Like, you were a what? You were a state judge in South Carolina. And said, I got tired of doing it. I needed to get outside. I needed to do something that was not confining. As you said, nomadic. I think that sometimes, the name caddy, it's almost like it's a stigma in some ways. I mean, because I've played golf all around the world, and I've had good caddies. I've had bad caddies again. But here's the thing is that they're out there, they're doing a job. And most of them are trying to do the best they can, and sometimes doing the best they can with what they've got. Mm-hmm. But it's like, listen, these folks, they're not living out of their cars. In fact, I'd say half the caddies or a third of the caddies on tour are wearing Rolexes. I mean, it's just these guys they're proper. And again, it doesn't matter if you're a club caddy, in Illinois, or if you're at a Pebble Beach or wherever you're at, caddies, listen, Western Golf Association, what do? They put kids through college through their caddy program, the Evans Scholar Foundation. I mean, these kids go to Northwestern, they go on to become I mean, stupid fame. I mean, I know a guy that went through the Evan Scholar caddy program, and this guy has got a castle out in LA. And you laugh, but he does. He's got a castle with a moat around his house.
Mm-hmm.
It's hysterical. Caddies are some of the most unique individuals I've ever come across.
Yeah.
And yet to kind of make it to where it's a 9 to 5 type of job, as you said, Gordon, ain't gonna work. I guess I just get frustrated with the fact that, because the guy that worked with me alongside me, Bill Heim, for 14 years, he now flies private airplanes. Mm-hmm. He's typewriter on every single citation. He can fly any King Air, and I've sat right seat with him, and I trust him with my life. And listen, that's no easy feat. That takes discipline. That takes a lot of. But again, he is almost the same thing as you. He's nomadic. He doesn't want to sit too long in one area. Kind of has to keep moving. Mm-hmm. But I just find it. I find it just insane how people say, oh, I'm a caddy. Like, oh, how exciting. Not like, oh, he's a caddy. It's not like Caddyshack. I'm not a member, Grandma. He's a caddy. Mm-hmm. No, caddies are interesting. I mean, that's how you and I have gotten to be such good pals. I mean, you caddy for a common friend, Andrew Coulthard. We met in Pebble Beach, and now it's great chatting with you and catching up with you all the time because we love the same game. Yeah. And that this game has brought us together. And what you do and what I do complement each other. It's just I find it so frustrating sometimes to hear this. And I think what Pebble Beach is doing is they're normalizing being a caddy. And I think in order to be a caddy, it's anything but normal.
Yeah, there's I think sometimes the management maybe misjudge or undervalue what caddies actually do.
100%. And that's again, I just like corporate America, does it come from the top or does it come from middle management, accounting, people who aren't in the game? They look at raw numbers. I don't know, and I wouldn't speculate to know when it comes to, what the decision making was at Pebble Beach, but it's just, I gotta say I'm sad for you guys. I am. I'm sad for the caddies out there because I know a lot of the guys through going out there year after year after year, and I don't know how many of you guys are going to want to stick around. I mean, none of you are spring chickens. I mean, and certainly you're the only handsome one of the bunch.
Thank you.
You're welcome. It's it comes from all that pampering and the elitism that you have going on. But
I'll tell you one last thing, right? I just spent 11 days in Scotland, flights paid for, played golf. I was paid to go and play golf. Incredible generosity from the guy. I come across so much generosity because of the relationships that I've formed on a golf course. To me, caddying is the most unique occupation in the planet. There is nothing else like it. And next week, I'm going to Boston to the World Cup with another guy that I caddy for, who's taking care of everything. That's like, I don't think, and no one else in a golf course is going to spend that amount of time with the golfer. And you're almost like a hairdresser where, but instead of a 20-minute haircut where the client reveals all, we're there for 5-6 hours and you get into the circle of trust and people look forward to seeing you. You get Christmas cards, presents, invites.
It's unbelievable. It really
is.
I mean, those stories just it actually warms my soul because listen, again, I call you and Zabo up. I mean, I listen to your podcast, but I'll sit there and call you guys up 2 or 3 times a year just to shoot the shit, see how you guys are doing. But it's just, I find that I've met so many people in this game who have become friends with and I'm close with, and I can say without hesitation that probably half of them were my caddies at some point in time. There was a kid that caddied for me in Congaree. I reached out to him not long ago, saying, "Hey, listen, are you still out there? Some people are going out there that I know, and I'd love to hook them up with you." And he goes like, "Dude, I can't believe you called me." I'm like, "Hey, are you kidding me, man? Like, you're one of the best caddies I had. You're engaging. We had something in common." And of course, I'm going to send you out there. I mean, it was 2 years ago that I ran into him, but I called him up 2 years later and he goes, "Hey, man, thanks for reaching out." Hey, no problem, bud.
Top lad. Well, there's more to come. We'll see what happens. And,
I'm interested in seeing how this all shakes out. I mean, I hope, and it's going to be hard for them to pivot I would
Oh,
imagine.
100%. Yeah, you can't go back.
Yeah.
But you can't put the tooth, as my wife says, you can't put the toothpaste back in the tube.
See, I was actually thinking you can't put the tooth back in the, because once the
Well,
tooth is out, yeah. Listen, I'm
right.
pretty sure people try to
I'll,
put the toothpaste back in.
I'm going to move on to one more before we move on to our shout outs because I think you'll be interested about this question. This comes from a Matt Bowman, and he's just outside Raleigh, North Carolina. North Carolina. I live in North Carolina, but my favorite golf to watch is the DP Tour. The players seem more versatile, the courses are way more varied, and the players seem to enjoy the game more than on the PGA Tour. However, it is obvious that the tour is light years behind the PGA Tour or Live Golf with regards prize money, etc. What do you think the future holds for the DP Tour?
I'm with you. I mean, I understand that everything is behind. They're way behind. They have been. They have been for many, many moons, and that just comes with exposure and sponsorships and whatnot. I think that sadly the DP World Tour it's gonna well, it already is a feeder tour into the PGA Tour because they take the best top 10 and give them PGA Tour cards, which is new for like the last 3 seasons now, I believe. The DP Tour is going to merge at some point with the PGA Tour. They're going to be under the same umbrella, I would imagine. It's going to give some players a little bit more flexibility to play around the world. Should they do so? I think that any professional golfer, especially young Americans, in order to get better in this game, you got to go play around the world. Brooks Koepka would be the number one American that I can say that 5-time major champion. Went around the world to go play in the Challenge Tour, which is the Korn Ferry Tour of Europe.
Yeah.
Listen, the PGA Tour, it's growing. It's growing in size. It's swelling up. They're going to start commanding all the best players because of the money. And the more money the PGA Tour makes, it makes less money for the DP World guys and those sponsors. Mm-hmm. It's slowly. It's not going to disappear, thankfully. I think it's got too much pride. I know everybody over there. Guy Kinnings, who's the CEO, wonderful guy. I mean, just brilliant. And they have such brilliant people on their board. It's just, they're kind of tied up that, to get more money, more sponsors. They've got this great relationship with the PGA Tour. PGA Tour owns part of the DP World Tour, but it's going to change dramatically, sadly, but it's still going to exist, thankfully. Now, whether they're going to be able to put more money into it, you never know. But he's spot on. The courses they play, they sometimes have to play out of necessity. It's not like they choose to go to a lot of these places, but what they do is they're not afraid to go out there and to give their members opportunities to play golf and earn a living. That's the one thing I love about the DP World Tour. It's still, for them, it's not about the money. It's about the competition and wanting to beat everybody in order to help themselves get better and hopefully end up on the PGA Tour. But that's the one thing I love about the DP World Tour. It is still professional golf in its rawest form. It's guys that can fight and are willing to fight on a daily basis.
Mm-hmm. I was told by a very interesting source last year that Live Golf were going to buy the DP Tour.
No.
No. Okay.
No. So what? So so the Saudis wanted to. They actually came to DP World Tour. I want to say it was 4 or 5 years ago, if not more, and they wanted to buy it. They wanted to buy the whole shittery. And thankfully, after much deliberation, I think they were pretty close to pulling the trigger and saying yes, but they decided to throw out the parachute. And I think that's when the PGA Tour got involved because Liv was already coming up. Mm-hmm. The Saudis are out of, for the time being anyways, from what I'm hearing and from what I understand, the Saudis are out of golf for the time being. I think they're circling their wagons a little bit with everything going on in the world. Sadly, with what's going on over in Iran and all of that, that affects that part of the world more than I think that any of us understand. Mm-hmm. But from what I'm hearing on most levels is that the Saudis are going to take a step back and kind of figure out where they're going to try and reinvest their money into sports again. Mm-hmm. I thought Liv was great for the game. I know that's going to sound weird, but I thought it was great for the game. I mean, It certainly was great for the money for the PGA Tour players,
Yeah, exactly.
that's for sure.
Yeah.
But I think it was also good for the game because it got people talking about golf again and bringing guys together in a way. And again, I think there's a couple of guys that have it spot on. I think I forget who it was that said it. Says we're playing for too much money. Listen, I tend to believe that too. I mean, listen, I think you can have a end of year, like the FedEx Cup, make it a bonanza at the very end of the year, but you have to predicate. You've got to get there first to get all the riches and the rewards. You can't just kind of float through. And it seems like the guys that I look at the money out there and I'm like, holy cow, this is insane. But that's just the economics of it all. I mean, I'm sure Jack Nicklaus and Arnold Palmer were looking at it back in the day when Tiger first got out there and saying, how much money is this kid making? And now that's pennies on the dollar compared to what Scotty Scheffler and these guys are making. So I think you're going to see a shift. And I don't know when this podcast is going to go, but the Tuesday of the Travelers, that's where we're going to see the first seismic shift in how golf is going to look going forward. That's when they announce the new schedule, and that's going to be the first new seismic shift. But going back to the original statement, I love the DP World Tour. I turn it on first thing in the morning when I'm in a hotel room, even when I'm at home on Thursday. Everybody that's commentating obviously is a friend of mine because I've worked with them for many, many moons. But I just enjoy the coverage. I just enjoy the golf itself and the courses and all that.
I would say it's very therapeutic, Rich.
See, I'm not an elitist. I'd never say therapeutic. I'd say it just makes me feel good inside. I mean, you come with these fancy ass words. I mean, I'm just sitting here with my hats in the background here.
It's called an education.
Yeah. How about that T-shirt though? Can you read my T-shirt in the background?
No. What does that say?
It says,
"Hey, I'm gay."
It's my friend. It's Rich Beem versus Jim Beam. Who wins?
Oh,
that's from my friends at Oakley. That's from my friends at Oakley. When I was with Oakley, yeah, I still have that T-shirt. I found that. I'm like, that is just priceless.
I do. Well, we only got a few minutes left because I know you got.
Yep, I got to go too.
We're going to move on to some shout outs. So if you want to support what the podcast does, you can buy us a beer. Go to the Twitter page, Glorified Donkey, or go to the website glorifieddonkey.com. Top right hand corner, click on it. Someone called Tom bought us a bunch of beers. So many thanks, Tom. I kind of think I know who it is. And you know who you are, Tom. But thank you very much. Will Escalante bought some beers. Thank you, Will.
Nice.
And then a Mark from Minnesota. He sent in and he says, Big G, I think you and Zabo need to settle this with a match at a par 3. I know you're skeptical about if the hole-in-one counts, but the real test is simple. Did he buy a drink for anyone outside his foursome? That's the only way to know if it was legit. Love the podcast, guys. Keep it up. He bought some beers. Zabo's never bought anyone a drink in his life. Tighter than 2 coats of paint. Oh, yeah, well, that's that whole par 3 thing where he gets a...
No, listen, Zabo's bought me, like when he came for me last year.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, no, I shouldn't say. He brought them to me. I think it was my credit card that was on the phone.
Exactly, yeah. If Zabo was a ghost, he wouldn't give you a fright. So, also, previous episode, I know you listened to this one, Dr. Karen.
Yes.
If you missed that one, have a listen. It's worth every golfer caddy.
Yes, and I need to get their doctor's name in Austin. Yes. I would like to go see him.
Yes, absolutely. I'll share that after this episode. The Sun Bus, and then also check out the Odd Spot for the non-US people. Finally, Paul Riley. He's a caddy at Dumbarton Golf Links, and he was in the group behind me.
Oh, nice.
And he came off, and it turns out I was getting a hard time about the podcast from a couple of the inmates from Dublin, and they were saying that it would put you should listen to the podcast, it'll put you to sleep, boys. And then Paul Riley comes off, he says, I'm a listener, loved it, listening for years. That last episode was fantastic. So thank you very much for that, Paul.
I love the stories you guys come up with. I mean, like every time I turn it on, I'm just sitting there just laughing. And I've told you and Zabo this. I said, part of what you guys do pisses me off because I can't call in and have my say in it.
We might look at doing that, but we are going to wrap it up for just now. Beamer, thank you as always. Top.
Thanks for having me, brother. Yeah, always enjoy being with you.
Have a great father-son tournament this week out in Arkansas, and I will be tuning in from the US Open. So
you got it, buddy.
Hit them straight, and hold some putts. If you need any help in the greens, just call me.
I will definitely do that. There'll be definitely lots of beer involved.
And if for all the listeners, many thanks for your support. There's lots of episodes, 173 previous episodes. Go back and
listen to them. Yeah, go back and have a listen to them. The one with the adult film star not too long ago had me in stitches.